I love the rumor mill. So somebody posted a link on the Vig the Geek fan page on the wall on Facebook that supposedly Verizon CFO leaked that the iPhone 5 will be both CDMA and GSM compatible in one unit. Now, on one hand, that makes perfect sense. From a manufacturing and supply chain standpoint, it makes perfect sense because this is one unit, one SKU, everybody can carry it, makes life a lot easier. Obviously, it makes sense why the current iteration, the iPhone 4, is not that way. They came out at different times. There's no choice for that. I get why the new one would be. However, there's this whole LTE network looming over our heads, and it's tough to say about whether or not this phone is going to be GSM LTE, CDMA LTE, or all three. It's very difficult to say. Part of the discrepancy about what's going to happen, I think, stems from the fact that Worldwide Developers Conference this year is being touted as being very software heavy, software focused. Sounds to me like no hardware. Sounds to me like OS X 10.7 Lion and iOS 5. What good is iOS 5 without a new iPhone? Traditionally, historically, new iOS on the new iPhone every year. We've got 4 iPhones, we're on iOS 4. That makes sense. Last year they released iOS for the iPhone, and then it came out for the iPad later, and they met up, and now they've been converged along the way. So could they talk about iOS 5 at Worldwide Developers Conference, saying it's going to be on the iPhone 4 now, and iPhone 5 when it releases in maybe November? Or whatever the case, that could be. Could it be that they'll just talk about iOS 5 and leave it at that? Then November they're going to come out and say iPhone 5 comes out in January. That could be as well. Because we don't have a drop dead date on this iPhone 5, there's no way to know what network it's going to be compatible with. If it's going to come out this summer, it's not going to be LTE. It makes sense they're going to do 2 networks, CDMA and GSM, on iPhone 5 this summer. And then 6 next year, we'll do the LTE thing. If it's November, it's iffy. I'm still leaning away from LTE. If it's January, I mean, that's 50-50. I mean, who knows? Verizon's LTE, it's out there. They can't make an LTE-only phone. I mean, that goes without saying because the network is not proliferated across the country nearly enough. The ubiquity is not even close to being there. I don't know. All I know is June 6th, if I have that date right, I believe it's June 6th, is WWDC. There's going to be an announcement, whether it's just iOS or iOS and Mac OS or iPhone or the iOS on the iPhone that will be at some point in time. I have no idea. When WWDC comes and goes and there's no mention of the iPhone, the LTE credibility is going to pick up some steam. I also have a real big problem with the CFO of Verizon. See, Verizon passed on the iPhone initially. Apple said, we want you to make some blind changes to your network, and if you do, we're going to give you a phone that's going to revolutionize the industry. And they said no. Then we went to at&t with it, and over time, everybody's like, where is it on Verizon? What's going on with Verizon? Is it coming? Is it coming? Is it coming? Eventually, it did. They pissed off a lot of Verizon customers by not having it from the beginning, and by waiting to have an iPhone come out this summer that's GSM, CDMA, also doesn't really hold water because now you've got people that are 7 months into a contract on Verizon, not eligible for an upgrade by a long shot. This is going to cause heartache with those consumers. Doing it separately and coming out with at&t now and Verizon later keeps things offset, more SKUs, more management, something Apple's not a big fan of. And that's going to piss off the Verizon iPhone customers as well. There is a new iPhone, but once again, we can't get it yet. Don't see one this summer for that reason. I also don't understand why the CFO would leak something. Apple is traditionally tight-lipped about everything. I mean everything. Yes, the iPhone 4 leaked. That was an accident. Apple does not share things. Why would Verizon, his CFO, somebody who's not a low level, all the guy doesn't know anything anyway. Forget that. What you hear at the at&t stores or Verizon stores, disregard immediately. They have no idea. Even the Apple store. They're retail employees. They get paid $9 an hour. They have no fucking idea what's going on. Disregard immediately. So now we go all the way up near the top of the food chain to their chief financial officer, a guy who is responsible for the finances of the company. Why would he leak something, jeopardize the relationship, break a non-disclosure agreement, put everybody into a tailspin over what may or may not be? Why would he risk that? Did he say it? Maybe he's taken out of context, maybe he didn't say it. Is it possible the news is making things up? That's entirely possible and even likely. So, what is real? WWDC is real. The fact that Apple's saying it's going to be software heavy, that's real. Go with that, wait it out. It's a couple of weeks away. We'll get an answer or at least some more insight. From there, we're going to wait and see. More legitimate things will come out. Nobody has found so far signatures of a new iPhone on the network and testing out in the San Francisco area like they have with every other version prior. Nobody's seen that. So this thing can't really be ready. Maybe it is. I could be way off the mark. The secrecy of Apple will never let us know for sure. I tend to think we need to just hang tight. So bring the rumors in. That way there's more to analyze, more to talk about, more to maybe build a real conclusion out of. So absolutely, let's populate the wall with more information and possibilities and see if we can arrive at something. This thing with the Verizon CFO is not enough though. No, we'll see. Maybe more rumors soon. If not, 2 weeks, we're going to find out. WWDC, it's coming up. And that, I think, is an integral part. So hang tight and we'll see what happens.